Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's video. This week I'm doing a resin project, and this is going to be a fun one, so stay tuned. So for the epoxy, I am using Total Boat Thickset Fathom. This is a deep pour casting epoxy, perfect for this application. I do have a discount code for Total Boat. Check that out. Save some money. And I am tinting the batches of resin. This is transparent, translucent, whatever you call it, green color. I'm going to be using green and blue, as you'll see in a moment. Found these large plastic bowls at Sam's Club, and they are perfect for this. So using a lot of scrap wood here, purple heart, maple, walnut, and some Pom Poms. A lot of Pom Poms. And then I am taping a piece of wood in the middle to use to mount that when it's done. And here I am pouring the epoxy. It used more epoxy than I anticipated. I think the Pom Poms really soaked it up. And here is the blue. This is a product called Let's Resin. And all the products, tools, etc. that I use will be in the video description. So I let this cure for about a week. Didn't need to do it that long, but I was doing other stuff, so it didn't really matter. But I know I'll get the question, so I did not put this in a pressure pot. I just let it sit. The deep pour is a slower cure, so it gives a chance for the air bubbles to release. And here I am fighting with this plastic bowl, but eventually I do get it and get to see how that the Pom Poms and the wood look together through that bluish green resin. I'm going to turn this between centers. I'm finding center here with the spur drive center, and that's why I put that block of wood there, so I can do that. So getting it mounted on the lathe. And I will tell everyone up front, I had an issue keeping this one in balance. I think I did a good job finding centers, but I don't know if it was just heavier on one side because of the wooden resin. It was really hard to keep true. I don't think I got over 500 RPM on this project, or not much over anyway, but just kept working slowly. Needed very sharp tools, so I stopped to sharpen often. They used some carbide tools, as you can see here. This is the Easy Wood Tools carbide tipped. I also used traditional tools. You'll see me using Carter & Sons bowl gouge and skew chisel as well. A top-down view here. Here's the Carter & Son bowl gouge. There is a lot of material to get off of here. It wasn't necessarily hard, it was just a long process. Not only because of the balance, but because of, resin can be tricky sometimes. So this was resin, wood, and Pom Pom, so I guess a triple threat. So still between centers here, I'm getting ready to mark the area for the mortise. This is the parting tool from Carter & Son. And this is the Easy Wood Tools carbide tipped, just working on the bottom. I'm trying to get a little bit of it higher on the outside and inward. This is the Carter & Son skew chisel that I mentioned, and I'm just trying to finalize that mortise. And now I am reverse mounting it, or trying to. So after that is securely in the mortise, and I'm comfortable with it, I do take the tailstock away and start the hollowing process. Now I started with this Easy Wood Tools carbide tipped tool, and even with that it was going really slow. So in a moment here you'll see me switch to a Forstner bit, a couple different sizes. Here we go. Starting small, and then I'll do a larger one after this. I like to hold up those ribbons. I always say I'm going to save them and then cast them in something, but I never do. Changing it to the larger Forstner bit. This is the largest one I have, so fortunately I can't go bigger than that. The rest of it I have to do with tools. But that helps give it a start, and helps me to set the depth of it. This is the Easy Wood Tools C10 negative rake. It's like the shavings coming off of this thing were interesting, to say the least. It was like, I don't know, like the Easter Bunny threw up or something. Like cotton candy everywhere. Switching now to the Carter & Son bowl gouge. This is the 1-inch bowl gouge. And because this is a mix of wood and resin and Pom Poms, I did go back and forth with the tools depending on what was working best or what was more sharp at that moment. The bowl gouge worked really well at this stage. I felt like I was starting to make some progress. Some slow-mo action. It still doesn't look like much, but it is starting to come together, as you'll see in a minute or so. This is the Jimmy Clues mate tool. This is made for hollowing, but it worked pretty well on this application. So this is not going to be a bowl. This is going to be a lamp. I am marking the area so I can make the opening the right size, starting the sanding process before finalizing that opening size. I sanded from 120 all the way up to 1500 grit. I wet sanded starting at 800. And now I'm going to be finalizing that size of the opening so the light fixture can fit appropriately. I just took a little off and kept stopping to check. I didn't want to go too big and have it go all the way through. That would not be good. Before applying the polishing paste from Axe, I do clean it off with some denatured alcohol. And admire it for a moment. And onto the Axe polishing paste, my absolute favorite part. This is where it makes it pop. Save some money and order some Axe. I have linked it if you look in the description. It is made in the USA and it ships same day. You will not be sorry. So taking it off the lathe and trying out the light fixture to make sure the opening is exactly the right size. I think I put it back on the lathe and took a little bit more off. This is the bulb I'm using. Light off, light on. Yes, I am referencing The Karate Kid, which I've seen 127 times since I was 12. What is up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this week's video. Don't forget to subscribe. So here it is. This one was really fun, and I made something that's not a bowl. You're welcome. Anywho, so after you look at the photos that are coming up after this, make sure to let me know down in the comments which bulb you like the best. The traditional bulb or the old-fashioned one. This is the old-fashioned one. It reminds me of like a pool table lamp, I guess. I think I need to get a shorter, fatter bulb so it doesn't protrude so much. What do you think? If you are interested in wood turning and learning anything about getting started in wood turning, I do have a course online. It is linked in the video description. Thank you to my Patreon members. I will put their name up here on the screen. If you're interested in supporting this channel, there are a few ways to do that. One of them is Patreon. If you want to become a patron, check that out. There is a link in the YouTube banner and in the video description. So until next week. Peace out, guys.